Thanks for joining me. I'm Maurice Parrott and I've got another vlog in the series The Little Word If. I'll read a passage from Romans 11. It's about the Gentiles being grafted on to spiritual Israel. And there's a lot of ifs in this passage. And Paul's showing that Israel were given the spirit of slumber. God put them to sleep. He blinded them for the rebellion and they were cut off. Only so the Gentiles could become spiritual Israel. Out of two, Israel and the Gentiles, Jesus has made one new man. That's Ephesians 4. Well, I'll read it in Romans 11:12. Now if the fall of them, that's Israel, be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? Don't write Israel off. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be, but life from the dead? That's Ezekiel's dry bones, the whole house of Israel. For if the first fruits be holy, the lump is also holy. If the roots be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches were broken off, and you, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, which and with them partook of the root and the fatness of the olive tree, don't boast against the branches. If you boast, you bear not the root, but the root you. So we can't boast because Israel were cut off so we could be joined in. And God allowed the Gentiles to be grafted into Israel. There's only one people, and that's spiritual Israel. A Jew who's circumcised is not a Jew in God's eyes unless he keeps the law. Paul clearly says that a Gentile who keeps the law, God says they're circumcised because circumcision is of the heart, not the foreskin. So someone from Israel who's circumcised in the flesh and doesn't love God, God sees them as a Gentile uncircumcised. It's amazing, isn't it? And God's allowed the Gentiles to be grafted onto spiritual Israel, so there's only one people. The New Testament believers were grafted onto Israel, so they're not a replacement. I know many Christians think that Israel were God's people in the Old Testament and the church are God's people in the New Testament. That's fallacy, that's Catholic theology. God's only ever had one people, and out of two, Israel and Gentiles, he's made one new man. Abram started the church all those years ago when he came out of Babylon, the first one to have righteousness imputed for his faith. Well, Paul gives a warning. This is verse 21. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he spare not you. Behold therefore the goodness and severity of God. On them which were cut off and fell, severity, but towards you who were grafted in, goodness, if you continue in his goodness. Otherwise you'll be cut off. So that's a warning. As God cut Israel off, and that's history, so he will cut modern day believers off if they keep not in his goodness. And then he gives a promise to Israel. And they also, Israel, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again. For if you were cut out of the tree which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into the good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? So another warning from me, don't write physical Israel off. God's got a plan for them, and it'll soon be unfolded, because the time of the Gentiles is coming to an end very soon. Well, I'm a busy man. I hope I provoked you. I'm going now. See you for the next vlog. Be blessed.